Millions of years ago, a single spark transformed everything. From the stoned ape to the seekers of today, evolution is about more than survival. It's about awakening and truly being a better version of yourself. It's your turn to ride the next wave. Find your flow, join the tribe, and find out what it means to be one of us. Stxned Ape Society. Transform with us.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of What's Up Now. For those of you that don't know what that stands for, it means What's Up Nominee of the Week. And each week I nominate a person to talk about their passions, their talents, their hobbies, and their skills. And this week we have the honor of nominating a good friend of mine, the man, the myth, the legend, the real Chingadera, Jay Browning. What's up, brother?
What up, dude?
How you doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me here.
Of course.
Good to be here.
So I just want to ask you, well, first off, he has his own clothing brand too, and it's called Stxned Ape Society. Yeah, Stxned Ape Society. And yeah, so what is your brand all about?
Stxned Ape Society is a brand that me and two other guys came together on. And basically, we wanted to encompass the evolution aspect of the Terence McKenna theory, the Stoned Ape theory, basically saying that they think psychedelic mushrooms over time, apes ate these over time, and that closed the evolutionary gap between modern day man and old school primate. Basically, like evolving their consciousness. So kind of going from like animalistic, like nomadic tendencies to being more developed. And then also, you know, even as far as language goes and being able to talk and develop speech. And there's always been the discussion basically about how there's this gap in evolution that can't be explained. And so, I mean, Terence McKenna widely got laughed at for the theory, and there's been a lot of people that have put holes in it. And for us, it's kind of more of like a fun theory to believe in, you know, not like Santa Claus, but like, you know. And so we took that idea and we're like, man, like, I kind of feel like I tapped when I started microdosing mushrooms and getting into growing them. I feel like I started tapping into like a different wavelength. And I just wanted to share that with people desperately. I felt like I had like a secret, and then once I got into it, I realized a lot of people there had that same secret. But it's good to share the sacrament, you know?
Yeah, most definitely.
And so what we did was we're like, well, we want to do something unique in the mushroom space. And eventually, I feel wholeheartedly that it will become fully legalized in psychedelic therapy and treatment. I guess we could back up to what really got me into it, which would be when I first got introduced to mushroom microdosing. I kind of thought it was like middle of the mall shit, you know, like some kiosk type, you know, type shit. And I was like, man, is there some snake oil? Like, okay, like, are you guys just wanting to do mushrooms all the time, but like you've got to give it some label, you know, like, oh, like, dude, you're at work on mushrooms. Like, you can call it whatever you want. And then I started microdosing, and I was like, dang, those people are fucking right. It's not like psychedelic being, you know, on mushrooms at work. So it really helped me get through some things in life and kind of, I guess, rewire some things in my brain. I had lost my mom to cancer about 2 years ago, and that hit me pretty hard. And I never really battled with depression in my life. I'd always been kind of a fun, charismatic person, and I just had not gotten the lick of depression yet. And then when that happened, it kind of sent me spiraling. And it was a beautiful time because that was right when I got introduced to microdosing. And, I was like, well, shoot, I'm going to give this a try. And really dove into it and got on like a 5-day-a-week regimen and would take 2 days off, kind of pepper them in throughout the week sometimes, depending on what I had going on. Mm-hmm. And it just, that with healthy eating and exercise and doing the microdoses really helped me kind of like pull myself out of a dark space. Oh, yeah. And that's what made me kind of become a believer in it. And it sounds kind of like a Full House, like story or like some Shark Tank story.
No, bro, that's honestly that's your story, and I'm grateful for you to being able to be vulnerable and let the audience know, and especially me too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like to know that.
So going with that. Some days I noticed that I would have kind of like an anxiety feeling because you get like, they say don't sign up for therapy unless you're ready for change. That's kind of like, I really emphasize that with microdosing is it's going to come to your doorstep if you've got unrecognized traumas or, stuff that needs to be attended to spiritually, physically, emotionally, which I think kind of ties into like, what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I introduced CBD and mixed it, and again, I thought the same thing with CBD, snake oil. If you can't get weed, get some CBD. If you live in like Oklahoma or Texas, and like go get some CBD from the gas station,
Yeah.
And then I started doing CBD, and like I started sleeping better and started feeling better, and I was like, dang, I wanted to mix the two together, so that's what we did. So we mixed the mushrooms and the CBD together for like a perfect little blend. And I also noticed different effects from different strains of mushrooms.
Dude, that's such a good idea. Silly CBD.
Yeah, dude.
That's so tight. Yeah.
So we put the two together, and so it's kind of like a nice like instead of like the mushrooms banging on your door, it's like a nice knock on the door, It's like you're good to see you, not like we're here,
No, police.
Yeah. Open up. You ready to trip, bitch?
No, it's just J-Bone knocking.
It's me again.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that idea. That's so cool.
we took that and ran with it, and then I was like, well. One thing I noticed in the mushroom space is people like talking about it. Mm-hmm. And they like I wanted to give people an interesting way to represent to the outside world that, hey, they're hip to this. They're part of this evolution. They're part of this movement. How can I give this a trendy edge to it? And also like, if I am a dad or a mom in the carpool line, wear this apparel, give off that image, but not in a tie-dye t-shirt with mushrooms all over it.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? So the Stxned Ape Society was born. And it's just kind of been evolving ever since then. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
Doing that. I definitely look up to you, and thank you for all the game you put me on with just entrepreneurship and everything. Like when I ask you for advice and you're like just so open saying, yeah, bro, I'm an open book. I was like, dude, I love that. That's super sick.
Yeah. Well, I was stoked you came to me because it's like, again, I'm my whole life, if I've got something cool, I want to share it with people.
Yeah.
Because to me, a reward, the payoff is seeing people use something that I put effort into and getting to see them get something out of it, which is, I love to see that.
Absolutely.
And so, when you text me, and a lot of people like try to gatekeep good information, or like IP, intellectual property, and I'm like, that is such a fucking pompous, like IP, like get fucked, dude.
I'm gonna be straight up. That's a bitch ass way. I'm a fucking selfish
I think what I got is really smart. IP, dude, you know?
Yeah, what it is like those people who they're not generous, If you're that type of person watching, then politely fuck off.
Yeah, disrespectfully fuck off.
Yeah, disrespectfully, like, you gotta change. Yeah, dude, I'm super proud of you and everything, your progress. you're evolving and growing, which is super sick to see your success throughout the time. I just wanted to ask you, how long has this been going?
Let's see. We started Stxned Ape. They kind of had rough ideas on the drawing board, and then when I got brought on, I kind of had a different vision for it, and I was lucky because they were really receptive to my vision and kind of let me. I've been very grateful to have backing that's let me kind of do what I want and just run with whatever I feel, full creative control.
Yeah, that's super sick. Instead of being limited to whatever, and then you actually have support there.
You know, and it's funny, like as I say that out loud right now, I think it's been a good and a bad thing. And the reason for that is because full creative control, it's all on your shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And so it's like we were talking about earlier, people having teams of people. And like, I envy that because it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm annoying my friend group with like how much I'm like, all right, I'm like working on this video. Like, what do you think? And I send them like 6 different versions of the same video. And I'm like, damn, this is the 3rd time this week I've done this to these guys, you know? Like,
Hey, you're aware though.
And like, I mean, it's like, one of my favorite 2 sayings right now is if you want to find water on Mars, give me a golf club. And the other saying is, fuck, I just forgot it. That one's so good it gets me every time.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with a business degree. I didn't go to college.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of barely even made it out of high school and like an alternative school, and you know, I don't want to use the word rough, but I had an alternative upbringing that led me into some different avenues of work that have given me skill sets that's kind of led me to where I'm at today. One of the things that I was really grateful for was like coming from the weed industry, like with the mushroom stuff. It kind of gave me a 2-year break. And it's one more thing to learn, one more thing to tackle, one more thing to get good at. And I like good challenges like that. The Stxned Ape stuff has been a unique skill set, and I've kind of had to do it on my own without any like guidance. And it's been a big battle. I mean, there's days where I have been like, you know what? I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
There's days where I'm like, this is it, you know? And so like, I get nervous. I'm still working through that. There's like a lot of good things people tell you, you know, and it's like when you go to jail, everyone's a lawyer, you know? It's like when you start a business, everyone's got great advice on how to start a business coming from people who haven't started their own business.
Yeah, exactly. You know? Everybody seems to know everything.
The phrase I try to eliminate from my vocabulary is what you should do is, you know, because then people, I'm like, no one fucking cares. Like, don't tell. I didn't ask you what I should do. You know, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do anyway.
My favorite thing to hear from people is actually my absolute least favorite thing. I just said favorite, but is, you know what you need to do, and then they tell me something that I do not need to do.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, and someone goes, "You need to do this."
Yeah.
Actually, I don't need to do shit besides what I think is best for me. You know?
Totally.
But, yeah, I could relate to you on just the upbringing and also being in the weed industry and just starting a clothing brand and just having different skill sets. I think what is so fascinating about this journey is, I guess I could say, being born again and being able to learn a whole new world.
Do you remember like when you first started growing weed, like you'd wake up in the morning ready to go look at your plants?
Yeah, pumped.
Do you get that feeling with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
right?
So yeah, my full-time job right now is truck driving, right? And I start at, I don't know, some days I start at 6, you know, some days I start at 5, but the gym opens at 4:30. And before I even announced that I was doing any of this, I like kept it a secret from everybody. But I was waking up at 3 in the morning, doing what I had to do, like fucking learning about like LLC, graphic designing, just fucking all this shit right? And then I would still go to the gym, go to work, and as soon as I'm done with work, I'd be back in the room, just
Respect.
grinding. Yeah, and just like you said, it's like being able to learn something new. I have those days where I'm like, shit, I feel like I ain't anything. And I am not shit, but the fact of like doubting myself those days and then still doing that, like I felt like the weed industry has taught me a lot of discipline.
For sure.
With that.
I agree with that
And
100%.
Although you don't see like any progress, like instant gratification, you just know that you stick
All the
to
content posted with minimal likes and exposure.
and then, dude, everything that you do in this, I feel like, just like life, is compound interest, compound effects. Like, you're not just going to go to the gym one day and have a fucking shredded six-pack. You got to go for months. And not only just go to the gym, you got to eat healthy type, And so...
Is that the trick?
Or you could just hit up fucking, what's that, Trend?
yeah. Old Trend Daddy.
I just think that those days when you're like doubting yourself, and then you have those breakthrough days. I made a post the other day. It was like, it's all about the journey, not the destination. And I've become more present and just respecting.
That's so tough.
Yeah, it's really tough, but
especially because you've been spending so much time behind the wheel. Talk about sober reflection time.
yeah. So,
just you in the cockpit.
Me in the cockpit, but it's been pretty cool. So all the negative, or not, to me, the negative habits and bad habits, unhealthy habits, I've replaced completely. So like, instead of, I don't know, one bad habit, I replaced it with reading. One bad habit.
Did you say breeding?
Reading. No, actually the complete opposite. I'm celibate right now, dude. I'm so straight edge. I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. I don't even beat off.
Dang.
And like, no.
That's where the glow's coming from.
The retention.
The seed retention?
Yeah.
Are you trying any perennial sunning?
No.
Feet in the air?
Feet in the air. Well, it hasn't been sunny lately, so no.
Wow. You got to make sure that's the real third eye.
Yeah. No, but yeah.
If you're going to tap into your root chakra, that's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like a whole different person, though, compared to like a few months ago, like when we were down in LA.
Yeah.
I feel like
I've definitely known you through some stages of life, for sure.
Yeah.
You don't like just make subtle changes.
No, I'm like all in.
Yeah, which I like that. It's way more interesting in the journey. Especially for like a friend's perspective,
Yeah, I think it's definitely
like passed out drunk to like climbing on top of a fucking windmill, I'm like, is this was it that bad? Like, hopefully he's got a rope on.
Yeah. Like, who hurt you? Fuck you, bitch. Yeah. Fuck you, bitch. But straight up.
It's like sobriety takes people wild places.
Yeah, it really does. And I don't know. So, like, back to, like, the cockpit, I have all that time. Instead of just listening to music, vibing out and thinking that way, I'd be listening to audiobooks now.
Damn.
Yeah, audiobooks and
no
podcasts.
More freestyling?
Dude, not gonna lie, the other week, I was, like, super bored. I put on a beat.
Yeah.
I had to, just try to keep that creativeness going.
Put on a beat. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I'm notorious for saying that. Like when back in the day when we're drunk, I'll just be like,
"Put on a beat."
Yeah.
Hey, yo, DJ, drop that beat,
dude. Even like my windmill days. My homies from Texas, we were all working.
Dude, Colorado. For some reason, I thought you meant like breakdancing windmill. I was like, this is a new chapter. Dude, I don't even know about you yet.
Nick started b-boying. No, but even my homies over there in Colorado, we got faded one night, and I was like, put on a beat. I was like, it's got to be a West Coast beat. And they were giving me help for the next couple weeks. They're like, all right, mister, put on a beat. Like, how about you put on your harness? Or something. And then let's get to work. I'm like, oh.
You're like, put on your harness. Like, hold on. Someone get this guy a beat. He likes something to climb to, Maybe something to climb to.
Is it a West Coast beat though?
Yeah. It's got to have a doing.
Stxned Ape Society. Show me some of your products.
Let's see. We got our little bag of microdoses right here. Let's see if you can see that. Stxned Ape microdose. 16 gummies come in here. Each gummy has 10 milligrams of CBD and 250 milligrams of blended mushrooms. Now, how we came up with our mushroom blend is we found out from testing them is all mushrooms have what you call tryptamines. Mm-hmm. So tryptamines are kind of like cannabinoids with weed. So they give you different effects, psychoactive. Some are psychoactive, some non. One of them, for example, is like 4-ACO-DMT, which is what they kind of use like for synthetic mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of want to tap into that because that's like what a lot of people, I feel like, are not understanding about the mushroom community right now is this big wave of synthetics that's going on where people can lower their price point, just like Kraft mac and cheese, versus a real mac and cheese. It's like, I can still get powdered mac and cheese for under $1 in a grocery store, even with inflation the way it is. Mm-hmm. That's not something I really want to ingest personally.
No, you want quality,
right?
With life.
And so I tell people, I'm like, hey, if not to dog that. I mean, there's people still smoke distillate carts. Whatever gets you done, do it. But just know what you're getting yourself into, especially with the psychedelics, because I had to try the synthetic stuff just to see, and it is not, to me, it's not a fun experience. A lot of anxiety. It's kind of like if you were to add like a stress attack to like acid. Shit. Yeah, it's not fun. J-Bone and I took some on the mountain snowboarding.
Oh, really?
Pretty much just spent the whole day in the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. You did.
So if you're going across mushroom stuff that's cheap, it's probably synthetic. And you're more than welcome to try that. But if you'd like non-synthetic stuff, we offer that. Our other bag is the macrodose bag. We actually just went through a rebrand on both of these products and changed our macrodoses into Apex Bites and our microdoses into Primal Chews, leaning more into the evolution theme for our company. We've kind of battled, with, legality of sales and how to navigate those avenues. And it's definitely been a learning experience for me. Before this, I had never started like an orthodox company, I guess. I had always worked for myself, but had never structured a business and done it the right way. So it's interesting. Like now, one of the things not walking away, but midway through this, like we're talking about having confidence and skill set from past endeavors in our life. I definitely feel like I have that with this. Is like, not to say I could go out and be like a serial entrepreneur and start all these different companies, but I definitely am way more tapped into what it takes to getting to launch of an e-commerce site or, a business. Like we were talking about earlier, my buddy said, if you want to try to learn with what it's like to start a clothing brand, tie your feet together and try to run across the room.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough because a lot of people are doing it. Everyone's side hustle is, let's start a clothing brand because it's a great way to extend, if you're a creative person, it's a great way to extend yourself creatively, which also can be daunting because I remember when I had my launch party for Stxned Ape, and I was like so nervous because it's a new avenue that you are extending yourself out to the public to be judged on.
Yeah.
If the shit sucks, that's going to hurt, know? And so it's like
being vulnerable
to a public audience. Like I can select people that I want to be vulnerable to. And like, I know my friends will wear my shit. People always wear free shit if you give it to them, and most people expect it at free. The better you know them, the more free it better be, and so, I was nervous and it's like, dude, get over it. Like the guy we use, designer, I call him Designer Dave, Evergreen Global. Dave, he's a great guy, great designer. We went to him for our logo and basically like brand design. And I had no idea. I'd never even done a mood board pitch before we had talked to him. And I called him after the phone conversation. I was like, hey, you probably don't get this very often. I was like, but how did I do?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're my client. What do you mean, how did you do? He's like, how did I do? Like, are you going to use my services? And, and like, I wanted to grade because I had never given a presentation before. And like, I was like, did I get my message across? Like what we're trying to do with this business. So you can creatively, because I'm also a creative person too. And so I was like interested. I don't know what I thought the logo would look like. I'm glad I didn't do it myself, but because like I get like real jumbled and like want to do it's chaos.
Yeah,
and so like
bounce.
Yeah, he kind of helped like dial that in and like make it make sense for me. One thing we had talked about earlier was how like making your business make sense, right? Like how like a lot of times I've thought, okay, it's a mushroom brand, a mushroom edible brand, and a clothing company. How do we mix the two, right? So like it gets weird, and I feel like it goes back to the representation of yourself and how do you tell the journey? Because anyone can buy clothes from anywhere, anyone can buy mushroom products from anywhere. Why do they want to buy you? If someone knows you, they know your journey, they know your story, that doesn't need to be sold to them. So they support that because they're friends of yours or family. When they don't know you, how do you let them know who you are through a series of images, through a series of clothing, through, social media posts? This one company I've been following on Instagram for a while, they only do like mood board imaging, and their tagline is "You got here on purpose" or something like that. Like basically saying like the algorithm sent you to us because you like all this shit. And all they do is just post images, like 4 or 5 images in the mood board style, and it's all sick ass shit. And so it's like they're not even selling anything. They're just seeing how many followers they can accumulate, and they're probably going to sell the fucking thing off, eventually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's just pictures.
Huh.
But like,
that's kind of...
And it's I think Project something. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, and I was like, damn it, that's a really interesting concept. How could I implement that? Because that's basically all.
That's literally like bridging the gap, and how to make that connection that's a real
tough one.
That's the toughest one.
And there's, and it's like people like you and I are going up against people that have whole teams, and they're sitting on Monday with 12 people in an office talking about how they can do that. And and compared to you get to do it while you're driving around in a truck all day by yourself, So it's tough. So that's why we have to like lean into people like that are trying to do this as well, is because we don't have that team where a lot of these people do, and these big companies have that infrastructure.
They have the bandwidth to be able to do like execute efficiently.
They sit down like, we need to make this message heard. What's a good way to do that? And like storyboarding, and I can do that. It also helps to have multiple minds, attached to it, which
most definitely.
I've seen a buddy of mine, Brett, owns a company called Batch Creative. And what they do is they have groups of creatives, and the company comes to them and they outsource. They basically say, hey, look, we've got this company that needs this advertisement made. And then who wants to do it? Pitch us your idea. So these people, they have like a collective of artists that they have in their stable.
It's like a crowd, not crowdfunding, but like kind of a...
Well, they'll get your content created and edit it out for you. And I thought about like maybe, I don't know, leaning into something like that for help, because it's like, I've talked to people and they're like, so you're just going to do this by yourself?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, for now, hopefully not forever. So, have you noticed throughout life, like, if you talk about it too much, it doesn't happen?
Yeah, it's mental ejaculation or something. It's like, straight up, you just like get the endorphins or whatever.
If you tell me too many people about it, I feel like I talk it out of existence.
Yeah. There's
so
something about speaking it into existence, like with yourself. If you could say it out loud to yourself or a certain group, or just even, in the mirror, and say it with conviction, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I'm going to reach these goals. No matter if they sound crazy as hell to someone, and then it sounds realistic to yourself, what's the difference? Either way, if you're set on it, then go for it. But main reason why I stayed quiet about it is because I wasn't sure about everybody's, I guess, input or opinion.
Were you nervous that like you'd get like off track or like?
No, I just didn't want any negative energy to infiltrate me while I have this fire burning. I didn't want anybody to try to dim the light that I had going on.
For sure.
So if I'm gonna,
sometimes it's hard to get that yourself to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like I've worked hard to get this spark.
Yeah.
No one blow in the air right now.
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. It's like,
yeah.
And so I just waited until I had the LLC formed and everything, and just prototypes, and just when it came born, and then I started telling people, and I was telling people not to get validation, but just to see where they stand, like see if they're really a homie.
Right. Yeah.
Like they could still be a homie, but they don't support you, or they could, and so, I just wanted to see what people's thoughts were.
Oh yeah, no, I remember I like thinking, people that I know well, and I'm like, post, hey, everyone go follow this page. I remember because Stxned Ape's been getting like flagged a lot for the word stoned.
Oh really?
So I had to put an X in it, and it went away. I took out the X or O in stone and put an X, and I had no clue that the word stone was going to be such an uphill battle in marketing, but it has been. But we've working around it. When we sat down to develop Stxned Ape's product, the mushroom gummy, I had looked at a variety of mushrooms that had been grown. Each mushroom has a tryptamine profile. There's certain profiles on the tryptamine list that do certain things. One of the strains we use is high in mucimol tryptamine, which is kind of like a daydream, like lackadaisical effect. Not intense, very mild. I like that. It's very for a social application. It works very well. Then there's the psychoactive part of mushrooms, your psilocybin.
Yeah.
Psilocybin actually has to be metabolized into a tryptamine that's called psilocin. Psilocin is basically already bioavailable for your stomach. It doesn't have to go through your liver to be processed into that.
Okay.
Psilocybin by itself is not psychoactive. It has to be processed into psilocin. That is what is a psychoactive compound in mushrooms. So what we did was, a lot of mushrooms, everyone's looking for specifically psilocybin content, like THC. Approaching mushrooms looking for psilocybin is no different than approaching weed looking for THC percentages and buying it off that. So what I wanted to do is get almost like a full spectrum library of tryptamines for our product, to that way to give the user kind of a full spectrum experience and not just hone in on one tryptamine effect.
I see.
So what we did was we took together like 7 different mushroom strains, all that had principles of tryptamines that we liked for different reasons, and blended them together. We do extract and fruit body. Fruit body is whole mushroom, the cap, the stem, the whole thing. So we grind that up. What we found through testing is that if you grind up mushrooms and put them in a chocolate bar, you get inconsistencies. The mushrooms float in the chocolate. You get hot spots. People have taken mushroom bars and they're like, oh, I ate half the bar and I didn't feel shit, but my buddy ate the other half and he was tripping balls. That's the reason. You can also get, if a mixer is not, a commercial mixer is not good, you can have hot spots in your batch. And then chocolate bars melt in the summer, so we want to stay away from that. Polka dot kind of tainted the name of chocolate bars in the community. I feel like there's a lot of fake and distrust in the chocolate bar industry, specifically with mushrooms. We had talked about pills. I personally don't like taking pills. I'm terrible at it as well. I don't forget to eat every day. So that's why we kind of went with a gummy route. I feel like it's kind of, gummies are more like a supplement as opposed to like a pill's kind of like pharmaceutical. Also, what we realized is if you just eat powder and a pill, most of that you're shitting out. So like And it also takes like 2 or 3 hours. If you have a slow digestive tract and you eat a pill, no matter how like vegan or whatever plant matter easily break down that pill is, it's still going to take maybe an hour for that to hit. And then you got to break down the stuff that's inside of it. When you eat a gummy, it immediately gets broken down. The other reason we do the extract with the fruit body is the extract is more bioavailable than the fruit body is. It doesn't have to be broken down. So, that being said, I feel like our product, because I want to just not be another person out there doing the exact same thing. We did the CBD and then the blend, our unique blend of strains put together, something that I don't feel like anyone else can really offer because it's kind of a proprietary blend. And when going through the formulation of this product, I realized that majority of people making supplements actually don't put enough active ingredient, whatever there is they're selling, for it to do anything, really.
Yeah.
5 milligrams of CBD doesn't do anything.
Okay, I want to ask you, could you show the audience your products?
Yeah.
Your clothing brand?
Yeah, I'd love to. This is what I'm wearing. This is one of our new hats coming out this fall. This is the Expedition rope hat. We've got these blanket style hoodies. They're super soft. The logo imprint on the back.
I like that.
This is another style of our Expedition rope hat with our classic patch on the front here. Black on black rope. Super slick. Let's see. We've got our Highway Hauler trucker hats.
I'm gonna need that.
We've got a few different colorways of these. Yeah, you're definitely going to need one of these on the road. Let them know you're coming.
Yep.
Let's see what
I'm
else.
rich, bitch.
We've got the Seaside terry cloth. These hats are terry cloth. I don't know if you can see that. It's like a soft material. These things are super sick.
The bucket.
Good for festival wearing. You know. Let them know you're about that life. If you're find yourself in a catamaran in Miami, you could also drop into a white terry cloth hat.
Oh yeah,
Super fun.
super clean.
We got the coastal corduroys, which is like a nice cream corduroy style bucket hat.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Let's see, and then we've got our surf rope hats, which are a nylon hat. They're like these. We got a cream colored one. This is my go-to hat for every day. We've got this light blue one. A lot of people have been liking this one lately. But you can like hose these out. And if you just get like a little nick, or like a lot of people don't like cream or white colored hats, but I've literally just put these on hot water underneath the sink and they become back to new.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a perfect fishing hat.
It's a great, yeah. And then we have our Legacy tee, which is a classic t-shirt. We've got a few different colors of these. We've got a pocket hit up front and on the back. And these are a little tapered long. Remember you came and tried these on at the show.
I got one.
And I feel like they fit uniquely. You know, it's like finally I found a shirt that fits like this. You know,
That's what's up.
when we were picking out the product or the clothing for this, I put on the shirt and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta have these. And then this is my favorite. This is our Heritage box tee. They have the logo on the back as well. I like these a lot. They're cut kind of wide because I'm a big dude, but the stitching and material on these is super nice.
Oh, really good quality.
Yeah, and it's like a light little blanket. So if it's hot out, it kind of is flowy, and if it's cold out, it's kind of thick. So it's versatile for all climates.
Sweet deal.
Yeah. And our website's launching this week. Actually, it's in the 48-hour period right now. So you'll be able to buy all this stuff online at SxnedApeSoc.com.
Yeah, I'll put that in the bio. What's your biggest and best advice to someone who is wanting to start their own clothing brand?
Don't give up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, don't give up, because there's there will definitely be those days for sure.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, don't give up. Yeah, that's
a
keep
good
it keep it general. You know, I could dive into the do's and don'ts, but every situation's unique.
one. Yeah, don't give up. It's very authentic and that's real. So, yeah, I just wanted to also let you know the reason why I chose you, nominated you for this week's episode is because, yeah, I acknowledge you, your entrepreneurship, you're very skilled and like wise. You got a lot of game to give. And,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So, yeah, I just want to thank you again, brother, for being on the
Thanks
show.
for having me, dude. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and yeah, go follow him at
StonedApeSoc.com or at Stxned Ape Society on Instagram.
Yeah, and go like, follow, subscribe for more. And if you already have, that's what's up.